Stars take game number 3 by a final score of 5-3 over the Edmonton Oilers as we get you set here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show to break it all down because it was a rough night in oil country. Started so good, and then fell apart on the back of a Jason Robertson hat trick. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the post-game show. Tom Gazzola with you live on location at Hudson's on White Avenue. A disappointed crowd here at White Avenue's Hudson's location. Lots of anticipation going into this one. And like I said, it started out great. Edmonton, a 2-0 lead, just 7:37 into the game. And then an awful second period was actually awful. And then the third period, awful goal that leads to Edmonton trailing in the series 2-1. YouTube Trev back at EST Global HQ holding things down. Matt Cassian about to hop on here to help us go through tonight's 5-3 Oilers loss. Of course, text us 780-218-9999 and then get it to the nasty chat. I saw a lot of nasties already chiming in as that game was dwindling down and the minutes were ticking down, and a lot of people upset, and rightly so. And I think you have a valid reason to be upset, many of them, on this night where the Oilers kind of did themselves in once again. It's their thing. Dallas does it to themselves as well, but the team that made less mistakes tonight comes out on top, and that happened to be the Dallas Stars. All right, GCL Diesel, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialists and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. Glad to have them on board as the presenting sponsor. And let's get on with it. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Nasty chat. Behave. I have this. I will use it. Let's start out with the scoring summary and game stats from this one. Very early on, just 2:02 in. Zach Hyman scores his 13th of the year. We said they needed to simplify. We said they needed to get greasy goals. They got one. Hyman goes to the net. The McDavid shot goes off of him and in. That's a greasy goal. 2 feet out. They all count. Bouchard, the secondary assist. Give McDavid 21 apples on the postseason, and Bouchard 17 on Hyman's 13th goal. The Oilers keep it going at 7:37. Connor McDavid, his 4th of the playoffs, gives the Oil the 2-0 lead. Things were looking good after the first. Shots on goal after 10-3 in favor of the Oilers. They actually had it at 13-3 in-house, and then they switched it going into the second period. And then in that middle frame, it was all Stars, and the Oilers could not bend, and instead they broke. They bent, and then they broke. So this is what happened as Jason Robertson gets his 4th of the postseason. Hadn't scored in 10. Rope Hintz, we said was going to be a factor with a nice play to set up Robertson. The high slapper beats Stuart Skinner clean. Tyler Seguin, the secondary assist. Got a lot of problems with that goal. Soft plays in their own zone for the Oilers, unable to break the cycle. And then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, also a soft play. So a situation where we had compounding mistakes, as Matt Cassian likes to say, and the result is the 2-1 marker. And then at 8:05, so not long after his first goal, Jason Robertson, who had a big night, adds his 5th from Rope Hintz as the Oilers continue to get caved in by the Stars. 2-2 at that point. And then at 9:08, so another quick strike from the Stars. Wyatt Johnston taking advantage of some terrible defensive coverage, soft plays, inability to get pucks out, things that the Oilers should have had cleaned up. But for whatever reason in that second period, maybe they were feeling good about their first period and thought that they could go easy in the second period. Whatever the reason was, they were brutal in the second period. They're getting absolutely dominated, and Wyatt Johnston eventually scores his 8th on the backhander. Logan Stankoven and Jamie Benn, the assists. Edmonton would get an equalizer late in that second period. Adam Henrique making his return to the Oilers lineup, having an impact offensively, scoring his 2nd of the postseason from Connor Brown. Nice forecheck by Fogle. Ottinger makes the play to the corner, and the giveaway as Brown takes advantage, feeds Henrique in front, and then he gets a stick on it and beats Jake Ottinger high just under the bar at 19.07. You're thinking, all right, the Oilers should be all right in this situation. I was listening to Jack and Bob on the drive from the rink to Hudson's White Ave, and they're saying Edmonton 0-3 when tied going into the third, and make it 0-4 now as Jason Robertson at 11:54 with an absolutely atrocious goal. I will say it. That was an ugly goal. A lot of problems with that one. You're going to hear Matt Cassian break it down. He had the screen grabs going. He was telling me about this breakdown and that breakdown, and a lot of problems with the way Darnell Nurse played that one. And Cass will be able to enlighten us with his thoughts on it. As Robertson's sixth, his hat-trick goal makes it 4-3 Dallas at 11:54. Seguin and Lindell, the assists on a bad goal. That one, as much as I was saying it was on, the defense and the way Nurse played it, the way the Oilers got hemmed in their own zone, Stu Skinner can't let that one in. A small crack at the side of the net, little gap, and Jason Robertson tucks it in. Good on him for seeing it and just putting the puck there and squeaking it through, but that's a no bueno all around. The breakdowns defensively, and then obviously the squeezing it in by Jason Robertson on a tight gap that Stuart Skinner left exposed. Not good. The Oilers pushing to get the equalizer. They kill off a late penalty, and then with the net empty at 18:08, they lose a draw. Jamie Benn wins it back to Miro Heiskanen, and he deposits it, the 190-footer into the empty net. Heiskanen's sixth of the playoffs. Final 5, Dallas 3, Edmonton. Series lead to the Stars, 2-1. Edmonton will look to regroup Wednesday night in game number 4. Shots on goal tonight, 30-22 in favor of the Oilers. Face-offs, Edmonton loses yet again, 51.8% to 48.2 in favor of the Stars. The Oilers' power play wasn't particularly good tonight. 2 opportunities, didn't do a ton. 0 for 2. The PK goes 1 for 1, happening late in the third period, about 4.5 minutes left. Tripping penalty to Nurse, and Edmonton's killers do a good job there. Hits, 45-22 in favor of Dallas. Block shots, 22-15 in favor of Dallas. Hits, by the way, 45-22 in favor of the Oilers. I should correct myself. Giveaways, 15 for Edmonton, 14 for Dallas. Takeaways, 17 for the Stars to 7 for the Oilers. All right, 780-218-9999. Text us, and then if you're listening on iHeartRadio, tune in. And, of course, the Edmonton Sports Talk audio player. We appreciate you. And then if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, win or lose. We appreciate the thumbs up. So we got some bikers out on White Ave, and get into the nasty chat. All right, let's get our game analyst, Matt Cassian, on here as we break it all down. Cass, I was saying to our audience that you were pretty explicit, not explicit. You didn't use swears or anything like that when you were breaking down the third Jason Robertson goal, which ended up being the winner. But you had a lot of problems with that one. Do you want to start there, or do you want to kind of work our way up? How do you want to do it?
Ooh, let's start there because you brought it up.
Okay.
There's lots to talk about. I'm pretty fired up tonight, Tom. Not gonna lie. I will preface this with saying this still hasn't changed my view on the series. I still like the Oilers in 7. Still think it's going to be long. But I was frustrated with a lot tonight, and I think it's okay if people are frustrated too.
Sure.
If you're frustrated about the right things, which obviously means you have to agree with everything I'm saying, and if you disagree, you're wrong.
Of course.
But you might be frustrated with what I'm saying too. That's fine. All right, let's start with that one. Well, I sent you the breakdown on it.
Yep.
To me, it starts the beginning, the middle, and 3/4 of the end start with Darnell Nurse. Then the finish is Stuart Skinner. So we'll get that out of the way. Yes, Stuart Skinner can't let that puck in. Now, there was like an inch and a half of space, if that.
Right.
Now, to work backwards from there never should have been a play to the net by Jason Robertson. Never should have been a play to the net. Darnell Nurse should have had stick on puck, should have had some kind of pressure to force him outside to not attack the net. So at the beginning of the play, Darnell Nurse, following his guy around the net, basically stays and stops on the back post. So if you draw a line up from the post, out from the crease, he's beyond that on the far side of the ice with everyone's momentum going towards the half wall away from him. So he is covering absolutely nobody. There's no one creeping down back door. The guy that he was defending is now basically almost at the face-off dot on the side that you're looking at, and he doesn't move. He doesn't move. Now all of a sudden he sees, wait a second, there's danger over here, and it's like a big lunge to try to all of a sudden get back into play. Sees that it's kind of a 2-on-1, potentially, maybe doesn't, because he isn't paying attention, doesn't shoulder check, isn't watching the guy that he was following around, doesn't realize that it is a left-handed player, not a right-handed player, which is incredibly important when you're playing defense. You have to recognize hands, hugely important. So he leaves his stick on the inside, leaves his feet, which he does all the time, and it drives me absolutely bonkers, and it just infuriated me on this play. It's like a half leaving his feet too, like where he kind of half doesn't really get all the way down, but kind of goes.
Gager, I remember Gager when he filled in for you one night. I think it was against Seattle. It was the only goal Seattle scored, and it was like a ping-ponged, and it was a half-ass. Is he going down? Is he staying up?
Is he not going down? I hate the going all the way down. I hate it. But it's better to go all the way down than kind of this caught halfway in between. And so because he's caught halfway in between, he can't recover. He can't switch his stick and go stick on puck, which is to force a guy that you see clearly walking to the net, who clearly could have an opportunity to stuff it, and you don't do anything. I hated that sequence. Now, yes, Stuart Skinner can't let that puck in. I get that. There was 1.5 inches of space there. He did not leave very much space. That was a incredible play by Robertson to tuck it in, but that just starts and ends with Darnell Nurse on that play. So there's one massive breakdown that ends up being the game-winning goal. But really on every single goal, aside from maybe, I think what was the we'll pull them up here. I think the Johnson goal, I think all the other ones is like you either had an opportunity to clear, or it was a clear mistake by you that just butchered what you were doing. So the first goal, Jason Robertson, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins doesn't get the puck out.
Yes.
Puck has to get out of the zone. I don't care if you get run over. He kind of half bails on a hit there. You have to get that puck out of the zone. And then he's waving his hand, kind of pointing, and he doesn't get back into play. People don't really recover. They don't get back to the net. So you do it to yourself. That's Robertson's first goal. Robertson's second goal. So if we get into this one, same thing. You have pressure. You have a chance in the puck. Yeah, and I get Ekholm stepping in front, trying to front that puck. I understand that play. They kind of fall. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins somehow loses his feet again, is sliding all over the place. And you end up with, I believe it's Hyman that's on the goal line doing nothing. Just standing there staring. So you have two Edmonton Oilers players. You have Matthias Ekholm, who's engaged on one side, two Edmonton Oilers players on the other side, who are just standing there staring at the slot. Now, you don't recover back in time. Your forwards don't get back in time to the slot, and you allow Robertson to get it, stick on that puck, and to put it in. There's goal number 2. You did it to yourself again. Wyatt Johnson, I think, is Johnson's one where we have the turnover from.
They were a tire fire. They were just a disaster for like a 7-minute sequence. They're getting outshot 14-0 at
It was
one point.
brutal. And it just, what's baffling to me, Tom, is it just came out of nowhere. Okay, that was the Vinny Desharnais tire fire. So guy clearly taking away the wall. You have the puck. You have a D partner who should be screaming at you that he is open in the middle of the ice, that there's no pressure there. Easy play. Easy play. You pick up that puck. You have your head to the middle. You just easy pass across to your partner, out of trouble, no problem. Try to go up the wall where the player that he's right there, seals the wall. You turn it over. The puck's in the back of your net. And just a tire fire again. Tom, there is probably, and I should have started to count them. Sorry, I'm monologuing, but this is good
because they were awful, and it was all they're doing. It really was. Good on the Stars. Good on the Stars for taking advantage, but we need to talk about their mental errors. You say compounding mistakes. Cass, every one of those goals that they scored to get the comeback and then eventually take the lead, I was like, that's compounding mistakes. And I knew that every time.
Over and over and over. How many times, Tom, did they fail to get the puck out of the zone with a soft play that was supposed to get the puck out of the zone? And that's when they were scrambling. The entire second period, they went full on, just tire fire, as you said, complete tire fire, where it was absolutely panic. for no reason. And when we get the puck, we're just and throwing it away. They did it absolutely to themselves tonight, which is just disappointing, Tom, because they had a fantastic first period.
Yep.
Like that first period was amazing. They pressured, they deserved the 2-goal lead. They had full control of the game. And then they just kind of throw it away. And I know people are Skinner in the nasty chat. And let me tell you something. Stuart Skinner stopped the breakaway. Stuart Skinner made a couple huge saves in that second period when the Oilers were absolutely struggling. So if you're going to sit and tell me that you pin this loss and this is all Stuart Skinner's fault and get him out of the game, just don't. Just don't. Because, yes, that was not a great goal by Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
It was not. Compounded on top of a horrible play by Darnell Nurse.
Yes.
And some other just guys getting lost I could have talked about before that, just swinging and not being able to pick people up in the defensive zone. But Stuart Skinner made some key, huge saves for you today. In that second period when you were absolutely trash. Then he made another couple huge saves when you tied the game in the second period. So don't give me this Stuart Skinner, this is what we expect, and put Pickard in and call up Soupy, because that's not going to solve your issues. Your issue is that the Edmonton Oilers did everything horrible to themselves tonight by turning the puck over and by making horrible reads in the defensive zone.
Cass, I was just like, did they get too high on themselves after an awesome first period? Did
Maybe.
they think that it was going to be like that in the entire game without them having to expect a punch back from the Dallas Stars? Because the Stars just poured it on. And then Edmonton opened the doors, those little windows of opportunity with lazy plays, dumb plays, brain farts, compounding mistakes. It was just like, wow, you guys are taking a double-barrel gun to your feet and just shooting them left, right, and center. And away we go again, talking about part of Edmonton's MO. And don't get me wrong, the Dallas Stars are an excellent hockey team. You can't make those. You can't do that. You can't take any time off. They couldn't break up a cycle, Cass. They couldn't break up a cycle. Stars forwards could do whatever they want. And it was like they were tripping the Oilers defense and the forwards, the back pressure guys, the guy down low, F1 or whatever. They're tripping over themselves and they were chasing. So it was a complete 180 from the start of the game.
I don't want to say they came out thinking they were just going to be all that and overconfident, because they played like they weren't confident at all right from the drop of the puck. Like it was, and the difference, and maybe even just a difference in mentality. And like Jamie Benn off the face-off, period number 2, he went forward with it. He wasn't trying to win the drawback. He went forward with it. And he basically was trying to make a statement to his team that we are going forward. Right. And they left and took the initiative. So for all you nerds out there, all the nerds watching, there's something in most role-playing board games, dice games, called initiative.
This is super nerdy.
Super nerdy. I'm not going to get too intense or too detailed or technical on it, but there's something called initiative. And what initiative is if you're going to get in a fight, you roll the dice, and whoever has the highest initiative gets to go first. Well, the Oilers in the first period, they rolled the dice high, and they were initiating the play. And then in the second period, Jamie Benn basically went, no, screw you guys. I'm going to go do this. And Edmonton didn't respond, or they didn't respond until much, much later. And they kind of recovered and played an all right third. Like the third wasn't bad. It was pretty even. But their second was just so horrible that they just let Dallas walk in, and it was just like full on panic. And there are always moments in games, always moments in playoffs where you have a bend but don't break mentality, where it's like, they're going to push, and we kind of, yes, we know they got some momentum and we're going to spend some time in our zone, but we're okay. We'll just take care of things and we'll be fine. But this is not like a little bit of a bend. Like this is like a full on sag. And they sag and they broke multiple times in that second. And Tommy, you're not going to win hockey games when you do that. And again, like people are going to blame Stuart Skinner, and all right, I disagree with you in that he's not the reason they lost the game. The reason they lost this game is they had a absolutely horrible, terrible second period that they did to themselves. Well, Stuart Skinner held them in that hockey game. So anyway, I'm fired up.
Hey, people are fired up too, and that's the beauty of what we get to do. And I'm with you that Skinner helped them. The goal was brutal, but you pointed it out well, adamantly, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like a disaster defensively before that ugly shot gets by Stuart Skinner. So a number of mistakes, a calamity of errors, compounding mistakes, any term that we've used over the course of these last 10 months when it comes to the Oilers and their struggles in the defensive zone when they've had them. Prime examples on all 4 goals scored on Stuart Skinner tonight because the guys in front of him, brain farts galore. Brain farts galore.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. Okay, let's serenity now, insanity later, I believe the saying is. Go for it.
No, let's just go back. Let's go back to what I said at the beginning.
Okay, go for it.
In that I am fired up. There was a lot that frustrated me, but let's not do the panic like we saw in the second period from the Oilers. So not panicking. There's a lot that irked me and that frustrated me, but there was good things too. Yeah. There was good things too. Adam Henrique had a solid game. Big goal. Good job getting to the net. He did some good things. First period was tremendous. Connor McDavid was an absolute monster in the first period. Now, wasn't able to hit the same level of oomph the rest of the game, but had a monster first period. So there was good signs. There was good things. Ultimately, you lose a 1-goal hockey game again, and I know it's an empty netter, but you lose a 1-goal hockey game. So you were still right there. With as bad as that second period was, you were still right there. So there's some positives here still, Tommy.
I'm glad you pointed those out because they are worth mentioning and knowing. So keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. I have seen some of the world is ending, the season's over texts, and we'll get to some. If they're too stupid, we're not going to. Yeah, okay, let's start here with EA. Who got in right after the game ended. Text us, 780-218-9999 if you're listening on iHeartRadio. Tune in. And, of course, our EdmontonSportsTalk.com audio player. And then if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, please, and thank you. And then you can get into the nasty chat. I looked at the nasty chat. It's just going insane. Mm-hmm. EA texting and says, well, if the Vancouver series was any indication, the warning signs were there. The Oilers are their own worst enemy. Nurse CC doesn't work, and yet they're still out there. This team still coughs up leads consistently. First periods are good. Second periods are dog crap. The goaltending doesn't steal you one very often. That being said, most people had Dallas winning the series, including myself, and they're showing why they're the clear favorites. I don't agree with the clear favorites thing. You can't give up opportunities to the Stars like that because they're going to burn you, and they did that to the Oilers tonight. Dave the Welder says, Oilers all season lose a hockey game on 10 bad minutes of hockey and a weak goal let in, simply put. That did happen tonight. This one says, Tommy, I blame Nugent Hopkins and Nurse for tonight's loss. Nugent Hopkins had an easy clearing play but whiffed, which led to the tying goal. Then Nurse inexplicably leaves Robertson open for the hat trick winner. So pissed by veterans' performance tonight. And he says that some people are suggesting it's time for Broberg. Ken does not argue with that. Vinny seems to struggle with Dallas's speed. I think it might be getting this critique. The game had exactly the same criticisms as Cass. Okay, so he agrees with you. What do you think of some people saying that Broberg needs to get in here?
Kusfraba. So
I says, pardon?
Yeah. Just calming myself down. What Tom, what is Broberg going to do that would have changed that game?
In my opinion, nothing.
Nothing. Like, you think Broberg's the difference maker? I mean, this is like he's the guy. Like, is he going to come in and actually get your power play going again? Like, is he going to come in? Like, I mean, if you with Vinny Desharnais' last 2 games, I guess I would have time for a discussion around like a Stetcher who's been in the NHL and who is an NHL veteran to say, okay, maybe we need a guy with a bit more mobility. He's made some mistakes the last 2 games because he has.
Yeah.
Maybe let's look at that. I got time for that.
Okay.
But Broberg, in his hundreds of NHL games in the playoffs and his hundreds of quality minutes in the NHL that we've seen him play at this level successfully and generate offensive opportunity, hasn't happened. And yes, he had a good finish to the year in the AHL. And yes, we hope he's on the roster and plays a lot and develops and does all the wonderful things next year, but he's not going to be that difference maker right now. Doesn't make a difference right now. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, I look at this and I go, as a whole, the forwards, I'm going to look at all the forwards. The forwards did a poor job of getting the puck out of the zone. They did a poor job of supporting their defensemen. They did a poor job of getting back and battling to the front of their own net at some crucial times. Not all the time, but at some crucial times tonight. Mm-hmm. The defensemen, I'll just one in particular here. I mean, Vinny Desharnais can't turn that puck over. No. Darnell Nurse has to be better. Darnell Nurse has to be better. He was not nearly good enough tonight. Not nearly good enough tonight. But Broberg doesn't solve anything. No. Sorry, I was getting off topic, getting into
No. That's fine. I agree. It's the guys who are going to get it done are pretty much the 20 guys that dressed tonight. I don't think we're going to see Troy Stetcher, but there's a guy that's been around the league, 8-9 years. He might get in there, and I think they'd still be super reluctant to inject him on the back end. Okay, Barry texting in says it's the Western Conference Final, and the Oilers still can't play a 60-minute hockey game. They have a couple of times, not often enough, Barry. Can't argue that. Thanks for the text. Let's go to Shaggy in St. Albert. Shaggy in St. Albert, you'll recall, said at the start of the postseason, put up or shut up. Well, the Oilers did not put up today. Shaggy says, Oilers blow it once again. Start the game with very good first period, then think they can coast by for the rest of the game. Had some home ice advantage, and they gave it right back. I have a feeling this series is going to be over in 5. Bad goal. Skinner returns to give up the winning goal. This team has the laziest mentality. Work for 20 minutes, coast for the rest of the game. They got what they deserved. No leadership on this team to allow this to happen over and over and over. I'm not going to agree with the leadership thing, Cass. I know people have brought that up, but I disagree with that. They're in the Western Conference Final. They're down 2-1. They pooped the bed in the second period and then had a crappy fourth goal that they allowed, but they bounce back next game, and same people are saying, oh my God, this team's in trouble. They're the worst. We're like, I knew it. They're going to be just fine. That's what we see. It's the pendulum swinging, but I don't agree on the leadership thing. No, I don't either. And again, to go back to what I started with, I know I'm fired up right now. I am emotional about this one right now. It got me you are. All sides, sorts of itchy. But I still think they're fine. They're fine. They're fine. You still have an opportunity to win another game in a couple days at home, even up the series and turn it into a best of 3. And that's fine. Yeah. You're going to be okay, but the game today was just frustrating, and I feel that. It's yes. Clearly I feel that. Yes, Sweet Caroline, I am mad. I have been mad. I have been very You're
mad.
a hot tamale right now.
Yeah, I'm a hot tamale. Yeah, Sweet Caroline. Big Vancouver fan. Sweet Caroline. Yeah, shows back up just to punch us right in the kidneys. Okay, let's go to Hampton. Steve texts in, says, Tommy and Cass, all the good that Coach K did by putting Henrique back in the lineup was completely undone by the baffling decision to reunite Nurse and Ceci as a D pairing. They were both putrid tonight. Knobloch was out-coached tonight. I've seen a few people saying that Pete DeBoer out-coached Chris Knobloch. If you're wondering what Ceci and Nurse's numbers were, no points for either guy. That's really no surprise. -1 for Ceci, -2 for Nurse. You got a shot on net from Ceci, none from Nurse. Ceci gave you 2 hits. Nurse gave you 4. Ceci 20-58 time on ice. Darnell Nurse 19-29. Cass, we've noticed Darnell Nurse's time on ice has started to go down. He's been sub 20 a few times now. Is he buckling under the pressure? How would you describe it? Buckling, or he's hurt or something. Like he hasn't had a good playoffs. No. Has not had a good playoffs. He has not been at the level they need him to be. And playing as a second pairing guy, he has to find his game, Tom. If they want to win the series, he has to find his game. Through 15 games now, Darnell Nurse -12 with 2 assists and no goals, 6 penalty minutes heading into this one. So not good for Darnell. Actually, give him 8 penalty minutes because he took that penalty late in the game tonight. Okay, more text, 780-218-9999. Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian with you. YouTube Trev holding things down back at ESTHQ. Portions of this hour brought to you by Edmonton's Best Rock 100.3 The Bear. Catch Dusty Nielsen on every weekday morning with Yukon McCord, and then tune into Jess Jackson on your drive home from work during the afternoons. Let's go to the next text. This is
No name on it. Oh, no, it's Rodzi. Okay, Rodzi says that is twice pulling the goalie way too early, not even giving guys a shot after a PK. Brutal call. Nobby, Cass, you want to chime in on that one?
Well, the thought behind doing that is, if you get scored on, you still have time then to try to pull. That's part of it. And the math says I believe it's about 2.5 to 3 minutes is the ideal time statistically to do that. So I have no problem with him pulling that early. That's fine. And you're thinking for your players anyways, because you're trying to time it up also with your top guys and being able to have your top guys on the ice from a shift timeline standpoint. So I had no problem with him pulling the goalie then. It wasn't the issue. Now, the Oilers' execution, 6 on 5, that's another story. I don't think they've executed very well at all 6 on 5 when really, we'd have to look back into the regular season, but I don't think they did it very well then either.
Cass, I'm worried about the faceoffs. I mean, they were losing a ton of draws in the Vancouver series, and that has continued. And I know Darnell Nurse has the finger wrapped up, and not Darnell Nurse, Leon Draisaitl has the finger wrapped up, and that could be an issue. He was losing a ton of draws in game 1 in particular. And the other guys, I mean, a few guys here and there have had some success, but man, it feels like they're not getting possession enough to get things going because they're losing on the dot, or the guys that are coming in to support are losing those battles as well. I'm worried about the faceoffs, Cass. I think a lot of it starts there, and certainly in the second period, they got caved. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it's just that initiative role, as I mentioned earlier, right? Like where faceoffs are an area to exert your will to a certain extent, because everyone's there, everyone's engaged, everyone's starting at the same time on the same play, in the same place. And it's not just the centerman, and it's the wingers helping as well. It's the defenseman helping as well. And yes, they got absolutely caved in the second, and it was just kind of indicative of Dallas being that much more prepared for the faceoffs, that much more on top of the faceoffs, and it just speaks to them again, just being so completely on their heels that they just couldn't recover.
Looking at the faceoff percentage through 2, Edmonton was actually winning 54 to 46%. Cass, in the third is where you need the puck.
Yep.
And they lost. They ended up losing. They gave up 5 percentage points. Ended up losing the faceoff battle. The empty netter off of faceoff. Not good enough. All right, a few more texts. And then, Trev, is there anything in terms of audio or clips or anything like that? Quick update, because I know we've been going pretty long here.
Adam Henrique and Connor McDavid are ready.
Okay, Cass, couple more texts. Then we'll go to a clip or two, and then we'll get your thoughts going into game number 4. Is that cool?
Sounds good to me.
All right, have you calmed down a little bit? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay, good. Serenity now. Okay, let's go back to the inbox. Let's go to Jeff. Bang on, Cass, says Jeff. If it wasn't for Skinner, it could have easily been 5 consecutive goals for the Stars in the second. And then Jeff adds that tonight was Oilers circa 2017-23. Complete collapse by giving up 3 goals in 3.5 minutes. Just cannot happen. Bottom line, those 3 minutes seem very likely to cost them this series. We'll see if they learn from last year where we saw that, what was it, a 3-4 minute span in the second period of game 5 when they were up on Vegas and blew it. They totally blew it at a very crucial time. Donnie M says, hey, Tom, is this team with no-show Nugent, Hopkins, subpar Skins going any further 4-game sweep? Don't sugarcoat it, please. We're not sugarcoating it. We're telling you straight up, Donnie. Those guys need to be better, 100%. They were not very good tonight. They made poor decisions. Stuart Skinner couldn't make that save on a bad angle goal by Jason Robertson, but there was a lot of mistakes around those goals as well, not just by Skinner on the one goal at the end, and not just by Nugent Hopkins making some soft plays, because his soft play led to more soft plays by the defenseman. Backtracking was an issue, and those two certainly need to improve in their decision-making abilities and execution, but there's some other guys that might not get the goat horns tonight, but deserve some of the fallout too. Let's go to Tuna Melt. What a handle, Tuna Melt. Says, besides stopping the puck with his butt, the next big thing Nurse could have done was injure Ottinger, get suspended for the rest of the series. What was he doing on the Robertson hat trick goal? Come on. I know Tuna Melt. Cass did a great job of breaking it down. Rob from LA says, NHL starting goalies are supposed to make some big saves, but not let in weak backbreakers. Yeah, that one We're with you, Rob from LA.
I just hate calling it a backbreaker, though.
Well,
I hate calling it a backbreaker.
There were 7.5 minutes left. Yeah. Go ahead, Cass. Like, why?
No, I hate calling that goal a backbreaker because it's like the backbreaking goal was the first goal they gave up. The backbreaking goal was the second goal they gave up. Like the backbreaking goal was the third goal they gave up, which weren't on Stuart Skinner. It's like yeah. I hate calling it a backbreaker.
I understand, Cass. I do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read this one, then we're going to go. I'm going to get your thoughts, and then we're going to go inside the Oilers locker room. This text coming in, and it says, "Hey, fellas, there's going to be plenty of panic in Oil Country tonight. Do they replace one of CC Nurse or Desharnais with Stetcher? Tough night overall for the D-Corps. I'm not exactly panicking. They've been in every game, but plenty to be concerned about tonight." So, Cass, I know you talked about Stetcher a little bit. You had some time for it. Do you think Knobloch actually does make a change on the back end, though?
I don't know. I mean, he's showed some cojones, as we've called them before. I don't know. I don't think so. But he has surprised us.
This is true. The reset for Ryan McLeod begun tonight, and Adam Henrique converts and scores his second goal as he returns to playoff action. All right, YouTube, Trev, you take us into our first bit of audio and video. Who's up first, pal?
Yeah, he made his debut in this series. He got a goal tonight. Let's hear from Adam Henrique first.
Good. Certainly nice to be back, excited, all those sorts of things. Felt good physically, so it, just kind of allowed me to just go out and play.
Does it take a while to find the game legs, or did you feel good?
No, I felt pretty good. But you're kind of mindful of those sorts of things going into the game. Simplify quick shifts early on, get yourself into the game, and then you just kind of everything else is from there. You kind of block out and just go play.
What happened between the first and second for you guys? They really had a push.
Yeah, they pushed and we didn't. That was really that's it. They did it. Teams are going to push like that. It's a good team over there. We just have to find a way to calm it down and get back to our game.
I understand why teams push when they're down. What's the response there, do you feel, from your crew? Or why did it take a little while to get that response, I should say?
I don't know. We just got to find a way to get, those, I guess, shifts after goals against are always big and important to just simplify and go right back at them, establish our game again. The first period was a great period, I thought. Played fast, played our game, go to forecheck. We're making plays, and then that first 10 minutes of the second, we got away from that, and they had their foot on the gas.
Third period, was a tip in the game too. A bad bounce in here. Do you feel like the third period, you guys were doing what you want to do and just got beat by a tough
Yeah, going to the third, we're tied. It's a tight game. There's the shots aren't crazy high. It's tight. They do a good job. The middle of the ice, out, all those sorts of things, simplifying, the same that we try to do. So they found a way to get one and we didn't. That was the difference.
Adam Henrique there scoring a goal in his return to playoff action. Henrique's stat line for the night. That goal, 1 assist, 1 shot, 4 hits, 13:41 time on ice, 37.5% on the dot. Cass, he just said it. We got to find a way to calm it down.
Yep. And
that's what stood out to me.
Yep, they didn't. It was panic, and they just couldn't stop that momentum. They couldn't stop the bleeding.
The end result, a 5-3 loss at the hands of the Stars. Edmonton down 2-1 in the Western Conference Final. All right, let's go to our next bit of audio and video. YouTube, Trev, who's up next?
Yeah, we'll go to the captain tonight. Here is Connor McDavid.
Kind of reminiscent of the second period from last game.
Yeah, but probably a little worse. I thought, a real good start, obviously, and then, I'm not sure where those 10, 15 minutes come from, but it's as bad as it's been throughout the playoffs. Obviously give them a chance to get back in the game, and, will we come back tied after 2, and just don't find a way.
When it's like 2 or 3 minutes, is there any way to stem that tide so it doesn't extend into that long, what you said, 10, 12-minute kind of stretch?
Well, obviously that's what we're trying to do. The playoffs are throughout games are about momentum swings, and when you don't have it, you got to wrestle it back. And we obviously didn't do that for the better part of that second period.
How much is that like them pushing versus you guys maybe stopping certain things that were working for you before?
I thought it was both. I thought they went up a couple levels and we went down a few levels, and obviously you see the difference.
What comes out of your game code at that time?
Well, I thought it was work. They like to play a long game, like a kind of a stretch game, and when they stretch it out, it's tough for us to be connected. And you see us kind of, outnumbered kind of in different situations. I mean, they're obviously a great team and they're well coached, and when they get into that stretch game and they kind of get up, going up and down the rink, it makes us look pretty not connected, I thought.
When you're playing the first period like you did, do you have to bear down and make it 3 if we have the chance, make it 4 if you have the chance? Like, there's a couple of good chances you had to stretch that lead in that first period.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're always trying to. We're trying to keep playing. We're not trying to. We don't go up by 2 and say let's just hold this all the way through for the next 50 minutes. We're obviously trying to keep playing, and we let one get away there, obviously.
Frustrating because in the third you didn't really give up much. I think they only had 3 shots by the end of the day.
Didn't give up much. We didn't get much either. It was pretty tight checking period. Obviously the margins are real small in this series, and pretty similar to last third period in game 2. Tight checking, they find a way to get one, and we don't.
Connor, you lost a game in Vancouver, game 1, that was kind of similar, but now that we're further along in the playoffs, does this kind of sting a little bit more?
They all sting. They all sting. Losing sucks, obviously, and series are short. And you only get a handful of games, and you never like to get. I'm not going to say we gave it away. They it was 40 minutes, and we were able to wrestle it back, and but just don't find a way again.
In that second period, do you feel it slipping away, or is it almost like you get caught by surprise and it sneaks up on you?
Yeah, that's a good question, I guess. You can definitely feel their urgency, their desperation, their level go up, and we just didn't match it.
All right, there's Connor McDavid. Few things stand out to me from what he said there. We went down a couple of levels, and they went up, and you saw the difference. Pretty straightforward there, and very true. And then not connected, Cass, was another one that stood out to me. What did you glean from the captain? Unmute, Cass, unmute. We got you. There we go, brother.
Well, what did I glean from it? You don't want to say you gave it away, and there was lots of game left. You were up 2 goals, you gave it away. You gave up a 2-goal lead. You gave it up, and he knows it, and everyone in that room knows it. And you have to find a way to stop the bleeding. Now, there have been some comments in the nasty chat. Knobloch should have called the timeout. They tried using TV timeouts. I kind of lean towards probably should have called the timeout.
When they give up the 3?
When they gave up the 2.
They gave up the 2.
They were playing so horribly.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I would have called
they
it
were
after
awful,
they gave up the 2. Yeah. Like just, and I know you have your TV timeouts, but just calm it down.
Calm down.
Just calm it down.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Now, I was going to counter that because I assumed it was after the 3, which, again, it happened in a short, 3-4 minute window there where they allowed the 3 goals. And I was like, well, my initial reaction was going to be they got the equalizer, but the fact that it got to that point, and you're right, after the 2 goals, maybe that Johnson goal doesn't happen. They're so discombobulated in their own zone. They were a dumpster fire in their own zone in that second period.
Yep. Forwards,
defense, yes, my goodness. And then the forwards weren't helping as well. Blown coverages, blown execution, just, bad. I want to get to this one via the nasty chat. Dusty's in there moderating. Thank you, Dusty. Appreciate it. He says, if McDavid and Draisaitl are together next game, you might as well wave a white flag and go home. You can't do it. Cass, I'm with him. You need to maintain as much depth, right? And we saw Knobloch go to McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman in the second period, and I was like, this is not good.
Yeah. Well, it's just a sign that things are going poorly, and you need to try to shock the system, and you're trying to get something because nothing is working. It's like that nothing's working, so I'm going to go to this. That's what that move is. So, it's usually not good when you have to roll that out, especially in the second period. Like, I get it with 4 minutes left if you're down, or 5 minutes if you're down a goal. Sure, great, but not in the second period.
No bueno. No bueno. The
Nope.
Oilers fall. What's up, Cass? We're going to say something there?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. No bueno. 5-3 is your final with the empty netter. Another tight one. More goals in this one, which I guess is more entertaining but frustrating with the way the ones that went in against the Oilers. Certainly the fourth one. We agree. Skinner can't let that in, but there was a calamity of errors in front of him before Robertson got the hat-trick goal, tucking it into a small spot that Skinner allowed off the post. Terrible angle. Okay, Cass. Edmonton wants to get the equalizer in this series on Wednesday night. I feel like it's simple to say that they just have to execute better, but how do they go about mentally preparing themselves after disappointing themselves and all of Northern Alberta and some of Canada with a poor second and parts of the third period?
Yep. Well, what they need to do is every guy needs to get a bucket, and they all need to fill the bucket with about halfway full of water. And then they need to all go to the ice machine, and they need to scoop ice, each of them, into each of their buckets. Then they need to look at the bucket with the ice and the water in it. They need to stick their head in said bucket, swish it around a little bit, take it out. Then they need to lift up the bucket, turn it over, and dump it on top of themselves and wake up, and not be sleeping, and maybe do that in an intermission. Maybe you have a really good first period, maybe do that in an intermission. But in all reality, Tom, you just have to reset here. You have to reset here. You had a great first period. You have shown that when you are on and when you're clicking and when you're executing and when you're doing things the right way, that you can control this team. You can control a game against the Dallas Stars. You can beat the Dallas Stars. You just don't want to have to try to beat the Dallas Stars and beat yourself at the same time. Because when Dallas was pushing, Edmonton didn't do themselves any favors. And so it's like, well, when Dallas pushes, if you can push back, you're going to be okay, especially if you have a 2-goal lead. So it's going to be a hard reset here, or maybe a soft reset, we'll call it, where it's just like, okay, maybe a hard reset. Pull the plug out, stick it back in. Do what Joaquin Gage would always tell people, or do when he first, back when he was working in the cable business and was like, have you tried turning it on and turning it off yet? I kind of feel like that's what you need to do, because you just can't turn over pucks to the blue line. You can't have those soft plays that are supposed to get out that don't get out. That's what crushed you tonight. You got to reset, refocus, make sure that those aren't in your game. Whatever you have to do to bear down in that regard, do that, and you will be okay.
All right, Cass, any lineup changes do you think we see in Game 4 on Wednesday night?
I mean, do you see a shift in that fourth line now, just from a team standpoint, like with Ryan McLeod coming back in?
They got you another goal. They got you the equalizer tonight,
Yeah,
Cass.
that's true. Yeah, I'm going to say no.
Okay. Henrique was good. He scored the equalizer, and it was a cross between, I think, two lines, because it was Brown that made the play over after Fogle did the dig in the corner. Bad play. Ottinger kind of a bit of a hot potato to his defenseman, but he had the pressure from Fogle. Brown makes the quick pass over to Henrique, and nice redirection. So I don't know, Cass. Like, I mean, people are probably screaming, change up the defense, but we don't anticipate that happening.
No, I don't anticipate them doing that.
No. Okay.
Maybe you pull Darnell for Stetcher. Maybe, but I doubt it.
Okay, we'll keep tabs on that tomorrow at practice. It'll probably be either optional or a super quick one, 15 minutes max, and then they'll get the rest and mentally refocus after dumping a bunch of ice on their heads. Thank you.
Yep.
I love the hard reset, Cass. That's so good. All right, buddy. Good work. Are you feeling better? Because I know you were pissed off.
Oh,
you were
I'm still fired up. Yeah. Well, I wasn't. Yeah. Yeah, I was as close to swearing as I get. Pretty fired up. I'm still fired up, still emotional about it. But as I said, like I'm okay. I'm letting myself have my feelings, and you should too, and the fans should too. Let yourself feel your feelings. Now, don't let your feelings control you. Take a deep breath. Still get a good sleep. We're gonna be fine. But yeah, I was fired up tonight, but I'm okay.
Well said. And you know what, Cass? Like, I'm now understanding my dad and his rationale when I was younger. Like, he would get pretty fired up, but then he would also have these moments where I'm like, wow, I thought he'd be more mad about, whatever happened or something. And he just kind of is like, he's okay. And then I'm like, what's your deal? He's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Just disappointed.
Yeah. So I was like,
different.
well,
That's
they
worse,
should be better. Yeah, exactly. So instead of
That's
these,
worse.
I was just like, I'm just disappointed. You're better than that.
Yeah.
You're better. So Reno, some wisdom imparted there. Cass, fantastic work as always, my friend. Enjoy your Tuesday. We'll catch up with you on Wednesday. Have a good 2 guys and a goalie tomorrow, okay?
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
That's our game analyst, Matt Cassian, helping us break down Edmonton's 5-3 loss at the hands of the Dallas Stars. Yes, it was a lot of them. See Jason and Leduc, good to see him. That the Oilers shot themselves in the foot. And yes, there was Darnell Nurse wasn't good. Vinny Desharnais had his struggles. Cody Ceci had his struggles. The forwards, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins didn't have a particularly great night. So, there was a lot of execution errors and issues with the Oilers. And I mean, just shake, give your head a shake. And as Cass said, dump some cold water and wake the hell up for Game 4. We'll see if it's that simple, or we'll see if Chris Knobloch does make some changes. He did tonight, getting Ryan McLeod out, giving him the quote-unquote reset, and then putting Adam Henrique, who's healthy and good to go, and got that goal for the Oilers to equalize it going into the third. All right, let's get YouTube Trev on here. Let's see what Trev's up to back at EST HQ. He is not a happy camper. He's still wearing the Marshall badge. Have we had to time out anybody in the nasty chat? How has that been? Because every time I look over, it's scrolling like crazy. What's going on, Trev?
I have timed out 2 people, and then someone beat me to it. I think it was Dusty or Maddie, but I saw Dusty was in the chat, so probably it was him. Look at that. That's a fine brew right there. But, yeah, Tommy, it's I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record. You guys pretty well covered all the major topic points, but, man, they keep beating themselves. Like I did a little game changers. When you left to Rogers Place, I did, I have a little thing here, reminders of what I wanted to say. I did a little game changers, and I was like, quit beating yourselves. This is the first thing. Watch the turnovers. And that's exactly what they're doing. Like that's been that's all we're talking about. So, it's very frustrating. I also have written down starts have been good. Make sure to capitalize on it, which they kind of did. It was a great start. You loved it, and it was awesome, and everything was amazing. You thought this game was well under the Oilers' control. But credit to obviously the Dallas Stars. They don't give up. That's part of the reason why they are such a good team. They're just amazing, right? They have great players to do it. So. Yeah, and you had asked in the pregame show how much of an impact will it be with Rupe Hintz? Will that kind of get Jason Robertson going? Sure looks like it got Robertson going. Hadn't scored in 10 straight, and then gets the Hattie tonight. So credit to him. Just a phenomenal night for him, for Hintz as well. Heiskanen was just solid. But yeah, I mean, the Oilers had this one, Tommy. They really did. This was the Oilers' game to win, and here we are yet again talking about how they lost this one. So it sucks.
Well said, YouTube Trev. Feisty hot little tamale tonight. Yeah. Are you doing one of these?
Yeah, I was. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you are. I got your back, buddy. I got your back. Okay, let's remind everybody it is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. GCL Diesel, proud suppliers of genuine OE products from manufacturers like Bosch, Denso, Garrett, BorgWarner, and Holset. Check them out, GCLDiesel.com, and we thank them for partnering up with us here on the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show. Let's go back into the locker room, YouTube, Trev. Where are we going next? We have something ready, right? You mentioned that we did.
Sorry, I just put someone in timeout. YouTube jail.
Ooh, attaboy.
Oh, that never gets old. I love it. Okay, we're going to go to back to Rogers Place. We talked about this guy a lot, especially Cass in particular. He had a lot to say about him. Let's hear from Oilers defenseman, number 25, Darnell Nurse.
There when play shifted to them.
Yeah, they just upped their urgency a little harder in the net front, and we're jumping into plays and making it count when they got opportunities. So they had a push there at the beginning of the second period, and our response just took a little too long, and they were able to get the lead.
How do you explain that at this time of year, Darnell, the 13 on the shot clock, them pushing so hard and you guys not having a response?
It's hockey. It happens. Teams have pushes. Teams respond. We found our way to get ourselves to the third period in a tie game, so our response wasn't non-existent. It was there.
I don't know, you didn't give up much at all off the rush in the first two games. Tonight, a lot more. Connor talked about how they stretched it out a bit, and you guys seem to get disconnected. How do you, if they want to play the stretch game, what do you have to do to ensure that you're not disconnected?
Yeah, it comes down to just beating guys back to our zone. And then when they do make that play, they have to come through numbers. We didn't make them come through numbers enough when they stretched the zone on us. They're a good offensive team. They obviously play that way and have success doing it. So for us, we just got to make sure that when they're stretching us out like that, we are in between them and the net and make it difficult.
Is it? I mean, it sounds like it's fairly tactical in terms of their changes, but is it battle level? Is it compete level when it gets that far away from you guys at that point?
I mean, it's a combination of everything. I think it's just finding a shift to grab it back, and it could just be a simple shift, getting the puck in and grinding down a little bit. And we didn't, like I said, we found it later in the second period there, and we were able to tie up the game and go into the tie game there in the third period. And it's we just got to grab it a little quicker.
Kind of similar to last game in the third period, tight check and not a lot of chances, but they find one both times and you guys don't. Frustrating at all, and what do you think you need to do to find one?
Just keep playing. This time of the year, there's balances, and you got to give yourself the opportunity as much as possible. And when the games are tight, we've been a lot of tight checking games here in the last 2 weeks. So when you just got to give yourself the most amount of chances possible, and want to go in.
Seemingly, you've lost games like this before. A game, Vancouver game in game one, but we're able to overcome it. Is that something you can maybe draw on a little bit as you try to reach back to game four?
Yeah, 100%. That's what playoffs is about. All the experience that you build up over the course of the season. So we have some fairly fresh. Some fairly fresh stuff to draw back on, and for us, we just come out and have a good game four.
All right, there was Darnell Nurse. He did not have a good game three, that's for sure. We all agree with that. I saw some texts in the nasty chat pointing out his contract, and he did not play like a $9.25 million per year defenseman, especially tonight. Has not been doing so this postseason. Nurse might be dealing with something. Cass, we're talking about him like he's under 20 minutes. His numbers are bad. Minimal offense this postseason. And Cass said either he's just not playing, he's stinking it out, or maybe he's dealing with something injury-wise. Nurse tonight, -2, no points, 2 penalty minutes, 4 hits, 19-29 time on ice. That brings his numbers this postseason through 15 games now to 2 assists, -12, and 8 penalty minutes. Not good enough from a guy who's supposed to be a pillar on the back end for you. No qualms in saying that whatsoever. He needs to be much, much smarter, better with his decision-making, and obviously, like we've said all night long, the execution from him as a leader on the team, as a guy who's supposed to be relied upon in his own zone, way better. Needs to be way better. Not good enough tonight, not good enough this postseason. I don't know what he's dealing with, if he is. Bottom line, his play is not giving them what they need. And that happened tonight. Needs to be better in game number 4. A chance to atone. The Oilers still have some work to do, but they do have an opportunity on Wednesday to equalize this series going back to Dallas. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999, or if you're watching, get at us in the nasty chat. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream postgame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We're live on location, Hudson's White Avenue. Beautiful night. The weather spoiled by a poor performance, a bad second period by the Oilers, and some spotty play in the third that led to the go-ahead goal again for the Dallas Stars. But other than that, great crowd here. Big thank you to Connor and the staff. Shiva, she was great. And Shay and Courtney, they're awesome. An awesome staple on White Ave to have a beer, have a bite, and watch a game because fantastic. Thank you to Corey B., VR Montenegro, Jason in Leduc, and Sarah and Cal in the park for coming out. Awesome. Great to see them. We had some birdie boos despite the Oilers losing and them being down. But a big thank you to everyone that makes this happen. All right, let's go to Chris Knobloch now, head coach of the Oilers, and hear what he had to say following his team's 5-3 loss in Game 3.
The game was early on in the second period. Just your thoughts from what you saw of that stretch of the first 10 minutes or so in the second.
Yeah, it was a complete reversal of the first period. I think they really were ready to come out hard and have a good push. And we were just kind of, hopefully things would just continue sailing the way it had in the first period, caught us by surprise. And, after one of the TV timeouts, we were able to settle things down and get our game back to where it should have been. But, I think we had our start that we needed, but we took our foot off the pedal.
Center left.
Chris, your defense tonight at times, 2 goals specific, where you had possession of the puck, inability to get it out and led directly to goals. You need better puck movement from your back end at times in your own zone.
Yeah, whether it's better puck movement from our defensemen or better support from our forwards, it's usually just not one or the other, but it's important to get those pucks out and keep them moving into our forwards' hands.
Front right, Josh.
Chris, just in those moments in the first 10 minutes, what does it feel like on the bench? You guys know they're going to come out strong, but they just had the puck for 10 straight minutes, basically. What's the feeling on the bench? How do you get that momentum back?
You just need one strong shift. You need one line to step up and put in a good shift, spend some time in the offensive zone, and just takes one line to do it. And after one line does it, then the next line, it's much easier for them to get some momentum. And fortunately, we were able to stop the damage and tie it up in the second period. And it came down to a 20-minute game, and unfortunately, we could have went either way in that third period, and unfortunately, we came on the wrong end of it.
We'll go back to the fourth row on the left.
Over here, Chris. You changed up your second and third pairing, defensive pairings midway through that game. Just want to get some thoughts on the logic that went into that.
Just we need, just like forwards change, or we change the forward line sometimes, and defense also. Just things hadn't been going well in the second period. We needed to change some kind of rhythm and flow, and I felt that maybe that was the best way to do it.
Back right, Daniel.
Chris, Stuart Skinner was, fairly critical. He said he can't be allowing 4 goals against a team like Dallas, especially with the way that they defend. I just wondered what you thought of your goaltenders' play, especially, in that second period.
I don't think he had much opportunity in the second period. They had the looks that they had. I don't think there was any bad goals, and he made some key saves when he needed them to. Probably the one that stands out to me is they had all that momentum. I'm not sure if it was right before or right after our third goal. Made that huge breakaway save. That probably a big turning point, and there's always goals that go in. It happens, but I like the saves that he made, and he gave us a chance to win it.
Any other questions? We'll go front right to Andrew.
Just looking for your thoughts on Robertson with the individual effort there to take the lead in the third.
Sorry, can you...
The individual effort by Robertson and his whole night, what he did against you guys.
All right, there was Chris Knobloch following his team's 5-3 loss to the Dallas Stars. Send us your text, 780-218-9999. I saw some reaction in the nasty chat. Not really liking what Knobloch had to say, not liking his demeanor. People pissed off, obviously, when the Oilers lose and do it the way that they did. I use the term shooting themselves in the foot. They did it. They are their own worst enemy at times. And I'm not going to take anything away from them. The Dallas Stars are a phenomenal hockey team. You give them an inch, they will create the mile themselves. That's how good they are. And Edmonton gave them the mile, and Dallas just breezed through it. That's another analogy I would use. And so disappointing, especially in the second period for the Oilers. And Chris Knobloch's going to have to find a way to get this group to refocus, reset, as Matt Cassian said earlier in the show. I liked Cassian's solution and method for that. And that was get a good old ice bucket, dump it on your head, and wake the hell up. They're going to need to in game number 4 to get back even in this series. All right, Trev, you ready to do big save of the game?
Yep.
Or do you want me to go to text?
Yeah,
It's up to you,
let's
pal.
do the big save of the game there, Tommy.
All right, here we go. Big save of the game presented by Christopher Boyle. Business owner, tax saver, take care of your family with Christopher Boyle, an experienced advisor with over 17 years in the business. Safeguard yourself and your family with comprehensive coverage for tax-free benefits during hospitalization or a fracture or a broken bone. You'll get benefits paid from day one of the incident, so you don't have to worry about the cost and loss of income due to hospitalization. Preserve your income, protect your paycheck by visiting www.christopherboyle.net. YouTube Trev, what is our big save of the game?
Awesome. As always, Tommy, thank you for that. This one came 11 minutes into the third period. It was a nice backhand to forehand from Matt Duchesne, a very skilled player. Obviously, he's getting a little bit older. But, I mean, look at the highlight reels on this guy. He's definitely scored some beautiful goals, and this would have been a beautiful goal if it wasn't for Stuart Skinner making a huge, big save of the game. And, yeah, it was awesome. It was a great save. It was a timely save. And it was also his first shot in 10 minutes and 9 seconds. I wrote down that stat. So, yeah, definitely kept the Oilers in it. It was 3-3 at the time, I believe. And, yeah, he kept them in it. Obviously, the Oilers fell short, but they could have fell short a little bit earlier if it wasn't for Stuart Skinner and this huge save. Tommy.
I could have used it on that third Jason Robertson shot. Oh, snap. I went there. But a bump. All right. Let's get to some text. 780-218-9999 if you want to chime in. I have a bunch to get to. And then, of course, Nasty Chat still going strong. Still a good bunch of viewers on the EST YouTube channel. Big thank you, as always, for tuning in on the Oil Stream postgame show presented by GCL Diesel. Let's go to Jose. Jose starts off with Nurse. So passive in his D zone. No attack in the puck carry. Very consistent sitting back and letting the forward make a play. He just basically laid down in front of the net instead of attacking the puck. And Robertson, he had support from Draisaitl in front, but Skinner needs to stop that puck as this is the NHL and the conference final. Jose nailed it, and I agree with you. You heard Cass getting very upset with the quasi go down, quasi not by Darnell Nurse, and then the being on the weak side post out of position. And then when Robertson had the puck and squeezed it through Skinner, Cass was like, why the heck isn't he going stick on puck? That was something we heard late in the Vancouver series. I don't think it was Darnell Nurse on the instant that Cass was talking about back in the Vancouver series, but stick on puck did not happen. And what happened ultimately was the third goal for Jason Robertson, who has awoken, unfortunately. Rope Hintz. We asked Jackie Redmond what we thought about that. We asked Josh Bogorad what we thought about Rope Hintz being injected back into the lineup. How would that help Jason Robertson? Well, hat trick. That's how well it helped. Let's go to Cal in the park. Cal, great to see you again. Second period, the Oilers were not committed to doing what it takes to win. Great night at Hudson's with fellow Nasties, though, and shout out to Tommy for the birdie boos. As Cass says, they need to do what it takes to win. Thank you, Cal. My pleasure. And Sarah, thank you guys for coming out. Always appreciate it and supporting us. We love you. Let's go to Fergie's prostate. He is not BS. And Fergie says, good grief, people. It's one game. Let them bounce back on Wednesday. If they don't, then bring in Broberg for Nurse, Perry for Kane, and Pickard. At least we don't live in the Middle East. Are you busting rhymes, Fergie? Good to hear from you, my friend. Go see Fergie at the St. Albert Rugby Club, just off of Ray Gibbon Drive, I believe, or is it Leclerc? But yeah, go see Fergie, and he's an absolute beauty. C-Max from the South Side says, what say you, Cass, Tommy G, YouTube, Trev? Do we see Perry Pickard game 4 just to get Stewie to refocus for game 5? C-Max, I guarantee you no Pickard. I would be shocked. If we see Pickard in game 4. And then Perry maybe, but I don't know necessarily for who. What do you think, Trev?
Yeah, I haven't had a good read on Chris Knobloch and what with his line changes, who he brings in and who he brings out. Well, usually when I say he's going to do this, he does the exact opposite. I'd be surprised. But I was surprised. This is exactly what I said the other night. I was like, I'd be surprised if they took out Ryan McLeod just because of his speed. And that's exactly what they did. But I mean, I'd be very surprised if they took out, this is Stuart Skinner's first kind of, bad game in at least 4 games, right? His numbers before this one they were all like 930, 920, right? It was super encouraging performances from him. So I think you're probably going to go back with Stewart. And then as for Corey Perry getting in the lineup, I don't think so. I think they're going to stay with the exact same lineup going to Game 5, Tommy. Or 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like the Broberg thing, we obviously talked about it earlier. They're not bringing in. Do you think Broberg really could make an impact? And Cass actually summed it up. No, he's not going to make an impact.
No, I think if the Oilers lose,
Fetcher,
yes,
maybe.
Yeah.
Banksy says, "Why not Pickard, Tom? Get serious, bro. We just lost on a softie. LOL." Because how good did Skinner play the last 3 games?
Really good.
4 games, I should say now.
He was awesome, Tommy. Yeah.
Fish Tank says team plays way better with Pickard in net defensively. I don't know. I don't think that's the play that we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see it.
No, I agree, Tommy. And then just quickly on the Broberg thing, if the Oilers lose this series, in 2 weeks' time, people aren't, that's not going to be the narrative. Oh, Broberg should have been in, right? So, no, there's no way I don't give any time and day to that.
No. All right, let's get to more text. 780-218-9999. And Nasty Chat, keep doing your thing. You guys are nasty tonight, and I like it. Saucy, feisty, ferocious, all good. Honest Hansel says, Tommy, my wife and I are coming in on Wednesday. Want to meet you. Where is the oil stream going to be? TBD. Haven't heard yet. We might not be on location. We might be back in studio. I'll be in the satellite studios if that is the case. Honest Hansel, we will let you know tomorrow. Nook texting in says, hey, boys, world isn't ending, but it's hard not to swear at the TV. Not all on Skinner, although I agree with you both that the last one needs to stay out. Nurse and CC seem to be out on the ice whenever the problem started. Every time they got hemmed in, it was them. We are paying him to solve problems with money, not cause them. He has to get more focused or shipped out if Edmonton is going to get anywhere. I know people want to see changes in the lineup. I understand that, but it's too late. This is the girl we brought to the dance for better or worse. Hope for the next game. Look, nicely done. That was a good text. I like it. C. Hendo says, hey, fellas, how does Knob and the staff get more out of Nurse? Minus 14. It's minus 12. It's becoming a thing. Can't take out an assistant captain and $9 million D-man, so maybe take Vinny Desharnais out. Stetcher in. Might need a change on the D-core. Hendo, we talked about it a bit. We don't think it's going to happen, but we've seen Chris Knobloch make some big cojones moves. Would he do something like that for a reset for some of these guys? Hello, Harleys and choppers and people out on a nice night on White Ave here in Edmonton. Let's go to Buzz in Nebraska. Said, we had coaches in Bantam call that area around the blue the bed zone. Lots of the bed in the second period. Buzz, you're right. Let's go to Mike from Calgary. Says, no lead is safe with this team. They beat themselves again. They once again made the other team look better and didn't deserve it. And I am pissed and so disappointed for one reason. Ben. Happy birthday, kid. Rest in peace. Nicely done, Mike from Calgary. Yes, Ben Stelter. Oilers couldn't get a win on his B-Day, and super sad for a lot of oil country. All right. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218. Hersey, I see ya. We'll get to you soon. And we do need to get to the player of the game, brought to you by Damon Bunting, RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor at Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you get into the right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. YouTube, Trev, who is our Damon Bunting RE/MAX Elite player of the game in Edmonton's 5-3 loss in Game 3 at the hands of the Dallas Stars.
Oilers fans are going to like me for this one, but I can't really... I don't know. The numbers, they don't lie, Tommy. Jason Robertson, he had a hell of a night tonight. He got off the schneid, 3 goals, a hat trick. He was all over the ice. Him and Hintz, they played really well tonight. Huge props to him getting off the schneid. He's a goal scorer, right? Like, he's a really good player. 106-point season last year, franchise-setting year which is crazy because you look at a lot of like Mike Modano that he never had 106 points. Kind of crazy. So this guy, he knows how to put the puck in the net. Hasn't got a goal in 10 games it was, and then it's weird how that works. So like you saw it with Evander Kane, right? You question everything you're doing. And so that's kind of what was going on with Jason Robertson. But not anymore, and that's kind of terrifying if you're an Oilers fan going forward, because if he's hot, I mean, just add another player to this already very stacked team. He's going to get clicking. So, but enough with that. He is your, I have the big save of the game player, or template out. Oh, wait, let me change that. He is your player of the game, presented by Damon Bunting.
VR Montenegro. See you later. Big thank you to Corey B and VR Montenegro. Nicely done. YouTube, Trev. How dare you have the wrong graphic up? Even you're having I'm just kidding. You're having a good night.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I've never done that before, but I'll keep this. I'll keep this up there for a little bit there, Tommy.
All good. You get some love for Damon Bunting, our good friend and partner. If you're looking to buy a home, maybe sell a home, or change, downgrade, upgrade, whatever you need, Damon Bunting is your guy. Okay. I want to get to this one. I saw it in the nasty chat. It was from Spade. It says, Tommy, I thought Schauger said Stetcher isn't even skating with the main squad. I doubt he'd go in if that's correct. Spade, he has skated with the main squad a bunch. Maybe a little bit lately. Hasn't been. I haven't doubled. Like, they had Black Aces out with them the other day for practice. And another thing, too, I've been told that Stetcher might be dealing with a bit of an injury as well. But I haven't pressed. Again, not at the top of the priority list, the health of one Troy Stetcher. So I still think it's a stretch that they get him in or try to switch up the defense. But we shall see tomorrow if there's any indication at practice. If they do have a practice, it might be optional. But we'll certainly update you when we're at the rink tomorrow morning or early afternoon, whenever the Oilers decide to skate. We do have an update from them. No, we don't. Not yet in terms of what the schedule is for tomorrow. Oilers PR will send that our way soon, I'm sure. I promised Hersey I'd get to his text. Let's go to it. Evening, Tommy. 2 things. 1, second period. 2, Nurse and CC, death by 1,000 cuts. Stanley Cup winning teams don't have those types of periods. Brutal. They need to run 40 next game. Not possible, but should be. Yeah, you're right. You said it with that point there. Not possible. They need those guys to be better. Nurse, much better for sure. Andrew in London, Ontario, says, Tommy, simply a terrible 3 minutes, second period. My old man, very disappointed, but failed clears was the theme of the night. How many times did they have full control of the puck, a foot from the blue line, and it doesn't get out? It cannot happen. Oil winning game 4, and it won't be close. Wish it were 2 for 2 today, because the London Knights still rolling. Took down the Moose Jaw Warriors 2-0. 2-0, in the Memorial Cup, baby. Let's go to Chris. Says, hey, like Casto, I've been working on some Birdie Booze mixes that might work for his elevated taste. This one I call the Old Bird, 1 ounce bourbon, half ounce of Birdie Booze, half ounce of Di Serono, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, orange rind, stirred with ice. Oh, Chris, maybe you just gave a great suggestion to some nasties out there that need to calm the nerves a bit. I love it. It sounds delicious. Once you said Di Serono, I was like, nice. All right, let's go to Conroe, Texas. Conroe, Texas says, Skinner, not horrible, but not good enough. Nuge and Vinny were bad all game. Started prevent defense for some reason in the second. Only way they beat Dallas is to outscore them. Stop pretending to be a defensive team, because against top teams, you suck at it, Oilers, says Conroe, Texas. And then Timber Woodsman says, they need to play solid defense. They've got a couple of shifts of pressure, but they start scrambling like that, and they look like they didn't know what they were doing. I agree. Neil from Nanaimo says, 1 tough goal on Skinner, 2 bad periods for the Oilers. This one is not on Skinner. Question, with the power play results thus far, lack thereof in parentheses, why default to pulling the goalie? And last thought, is it positive knowing the Oilers have another gear to give? Yes, Neil, I would also say maybe take solace or have it in the back of your mind that Edmonton hurt themselves as much as Dallas hurt them and inflicted pain on them tonight. And if they clean that up, they should be okay. Heavy emphasis on if and then should. We'll see if they can do that in Game 4. They generally bounce back well, but Dallas is a hell of a team. Can the Oilers pull it together? We shall see. All right, YouTube Trev, anything else from you tonight, my friend?
Yeah, I think that's pretty well it, Tommy. Just another solid show. I was looking at the numbers. They're all so good. So kudos to all you nasties who are staying up with us. We really appreciate it. Leave a like if you haven't already. As for the Oilers, going on to game number 4, look, the starts haven't been the problem, Tommy. It's once they have the lead, and it's just maintaining the lead. So I don't really like what Knobloch said going into the second period. We were surprised by how they came. Like, how can you be surprised by? You have to expect that.
You knew they were going to push.
Yeah, so
they're down 2-0.
Not that good of an answer. So just maybe words to say is don't be surprised. Going into the next game. Don't be surprised if you're up. They're probably going to come at you. So with everything they got. And then, as far as the one last thing, like Stetcher, like the one thing that he does provide, he's got pretty quick ups. That was one of Cass's game changers, like 2 games, or I guess a while ago. He does have a really good first pass, and that is one of the problems that the Oilers are having is exiting the zone. So I think he's a little bit better than Vinny Desharnais at that, but then you trade the physicality that Desharnais brings. So just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, Tommy, like these games are winnable. They're doing it. They're shooting themselves in the foot. So just don't do that. I like where this team's at. They're only down 1. It's fine. They were down 1 against the Canucks. I expect a better game, a better, more complete game from them in Game 4. So that's all I got, Tommy.
That was really good, Trev. They did it to themselves, and you know what, Dallas, you give them a window like that, they're going to pounce and they're going to jump through, and they did that definitely in a big way tonight on the back of a Jason Robertson hat trick. Rope Hintz instrumental in his return. Adam Henrique strong in his return as well for the Oilers, scoring an equalizer late in the second period. We'll see if there's any changes to the lineup. Maybe we get an indication tomorrow at practice. I'll be down at the rink, and I'll be sure to update anyone via X, a.k.a. Twitter. A huge thank you to the staff here. Fantastic at Hudson's White Avenue. So good. Great spot. And a big thank you to all the nasties who showed up, everybody who came and said hello. Shay, she's great. Connor, great. Shiva, awesome. And YouTube Trev, fantastic work. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, whether it was on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, or the Edmonton Sports Talk audio player on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, of course, on YouTube as well. For YouTube Trev and Matt Cassian, I am Tom Gazzola signing off, saying good night, everyone. Thank you as always. We will talk to you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.